So obviously we can see the guy sitting back. But watch, we're on the 37-yard line. Look how far they push this back, this pocket back. Very first play of the game. But this was like it's all night. Our guys are retreating at least 5 yards, 5 or 6 yards. Then watch 91, 50, 92. I guess is what it. Watch how they push our guys back. Look, just right down midline. Pat feels the pressure. That's how they were doing him all night. Now, look at this pocket. I think goes to the next one. The Bills. Okay. Instead of retreating 5 or 6 yards back, they only do 3. Watch the room they give Josh Allen. That's what he was getting all night. That's what they were seeing. And so you see how stout it was. Like the pressure was different. And so getting pushed back 5 yards on the inside and outside as opposed, that's a huge difference for a quarterback to make everything look good, the window. And so they can sit there and talk everything they want to about Josh Allen, this and that. The sucker had some pockets. Go back at it again. Take the same one. Look at that. That's a push. No quarterback needs to be on that type of pressure. That's when you get errant throws and those things happening.
What do you chalk that up to? The will and want of the D line versus our O line, or what is it?
I think you got to do a quicker set. That's a quick set, but you got to strike. Like you got to stop the rush right there immediately. Is what happens. Okay, like you absorb the blow, but you got to absorb the blow earlier. Okay, you can't retreat and catch. Watch their line. Okay, I mean they immediately getting the guy right now. Watch they absorb the blow. Watch how they you got to anchor quick. Boom. See that? They stop their rush within 2 or 3 yards. And so you got to get stout immediately. That's how it works. And so I think, sometimes our interior guys, Trey, Creed, and Joe, get pushed around. They get pushed back. Look at that. I mean, setting your feet down early. So when you have the depth of the pocket, man, that's what makes the clear window. That way, the guys that's coming from the outside, shoot, Pat can step up a little bit and say, hey, I let them breathe from the outside. Let me just step up in this little space. A yard and a half is huge. It's huge in the NFL for a quarterback, especially back there. A yard and a half after catching a football is huge. You wide open. But when you get into confined places, tougher task. So, so that's my thing. I never really talk about it and call it out, but we got to do a much better job of stopping that charge earlier. Got to be more stout, okay? Rather than rush our line, may have been keeping the lanes to contain Allen. No. If you push a guy back, and okay, Greg, so we know it's gap integrity, okay? So when you contain him, you want to be able to shed, all right? So if you're not getting a rush back there where it's clear for like a linebacker or whoever's doing the spy who's coming up to make the play, like when he decides to take off running, our guys recognize it earlier, okay? But if you're sitting back there and then all of a sudden, the last play of the game, and I did it, and I should have sent it to you. Baldy does a great job of breaking this thing down. Should have sent those to you what Baldy did. I need to get Baldy on here. But 64, Chris Jones came in and he just took Chris where he wanted to. That's what opened up the lane for Josh. Josh seen that lane. He's like, I'm gone. Okay. We was running man coverage is what we were doing. Okay. Cover one. We was running cover one. All right. With that, if you look at the communication back there, it was a little bit of a confusion about who had who. Okay. So they're running 2 shallow crosses, and we call this the pick routes. 2 shallows because guys had to bounce to get over. Okay, it was a great play call for them. Okay, because they understood. Hey, we used to call it 122 wide pick. That's what we used to call it. Okay, and all you're doing is you're just running 2 guys to get 2 defenders to bounce over top for the guy that they got man. We run man a lot. They know that. We understood that. 4th and 2, we running man. But what we should have done is we should have bought one more than what they could block. We didn't do that. The same blitz we had McDuffie come off the edge, we could have ran that one. Like we should, at that moment, hey, balls to the wall, go get him. Do not let him sit back there. And you have everybody just play tough. That's what you're going to be able to do. But when we start watching guys, move across you and picking and stuff like that, that's when it gets a little bit confusing. Who do you have? Who do you got? And so when the communication is off, then that means your assignment is off too. And then we've seen that throughout the entire game. Now, we'll get to defense because there was miscommunication. And so when you see this, I was just like, man, what are we running?
Come on, baby, go. Yes! That's a first down. This football season, I'll be putting down normal sodas like Coca-Cola for Olipop. Olipop offers a healthier alternative with its low sugar content and natural ingredients. Olipop is more than just a drink. It's a wellness companion that supports your digestive health. Packed with prebiotics, this fizzy elixir helps promote good bacteria in your gut, leading to improved digestion and overall well-being. So go ahead, click the link in the description and use promo code SODALOVE and get your can of Olipop so you can enjoy the game guilt-free. Go Chiefs. Use the promo code SODALOVE for 15% off now. The O-line, I've seen some people comment on Wanya Morris wanting to know what your grade is for Wanya, but JD, what did you make of the offensive line play?
I'll tell you what, man. For my O-line, this was a tough one to watch. But there was too much push and pressure from the Bills' defensive line that affected PM15's timing in the passing game. And we know the game is won up front. It is. When you have guys in the trenches that understand gap integrity, but assignment as far as like the battle, every single snap starts there. I mean, that's where you hit, you swing, you punch, you bite, you scrape. It is an all-out war on that offensive line and D-line, okay? That's just what it is in the trenches. That's just what it is. And you got to be built to deal with those things. So for me, if I feel it seem a little rough, that's because for me, I was in those trenches, okay? And I don't mind swinging like I know all these other guys don't do it. But we got pushed around a little bit yesterday by the Bills defensive line. 91 was giving it to us. That sucker is a hoss. That joke is a hoss. And he was going up and down the road, pushing everybody back, giving everybody the business. So I always do a hold for these things. What I would say this about Wanya, and Andy said this, and I knew that before, but I think Wanya is still a little bit hurt. I think his knees still bother him still a little bit. And I was just kind of watching his gait. Almost like that Tyson fight. We were talking about the Tyson fight. It was like when he walked in, he had like a little gait to him. Like, oh, okay. He got a little, knee sleeve on. Mike won 100. We know that. Okay. I thought that was however anybody feels about that, man. Everybody kept going to Mike being 58 years old. That wasn't what it is. Mike, had something in his contract, and that sucker wasn't all the way right going to go fight Jake Paul. If he was, it'd have been a whole different thing. So that's all I'm going to say about that one. But Wanya, I still think is a little banged up. So why are we hesitant to get a left tackle? Donovan, Bakhtiari, someone? Medi Matrix, that might be in the works. Sometimes these talks might take a little time. They might give guys time to get themselves in shape. Whatever it may be might be holding them up. It could be money, especially now. This is the business side of it. If a team's sitting there seeing that a team is desperate, money talks, right? And price goes up. You need me. Guess what? You might have to pay a little bit more money. Well, we ain't quite got it. Oh, well, then I can't help you. I'll sit back on my butt, sitting over here eating Cheetos, drinking beer, and whatever else I'm doing. okay, playing some golf, having a good time, put some things on the grill. But you want me to come out of where am I at? Out of my man cave or where I am, off the golf course, throw a little bit more of that do-re me my way. So I don't know if this is going to work or not. I would think, for me, I would be pursuing some of these guys. I would be. Uh, and I'd seen Andy talk about King Suma and why they put him. He didn't dress out for the game. And I do believe some of his confidence is shot. This is some of the things we talked about also too with Sky Moore and those guys, because when you have an expectation and you don't hit it, just like he's no different from anybody else. Sometimes people have a hard time moving forward, and we all move forward on our own time. Sometimes not rather quickly, right? And we see everybody's falling apart. We lose one game, everybody's falling apart, and so. But I think King Suma's going to bounce back. I think he has to just work through it. He'll just have to work through it. But I know he didn't want to necessarily give out as far as like what's everything going on behind the scenes with him. But I hope he gets back to where he needs to get to. Other than that, man, I think it will be fine. Now, with that being said, okay, not only was he getting pushed back in the game, man, it was uncostly penalties that cost us too. Wanye had a holding call. Juwan Taylor had a holding call, which was a terrible call, by the way. That was a terrible call on Wanye. Or not Wanye, but Juwan. Sucker got his feet wrapped up trying to get Pat, and he pushed that sucker down, man. That wasn't, he didn't grab him. That was a bad call. Absolutely bad call. Don P. be absolutely right. Play calling in my homes. Okay, I don't know what I'm talking about, but maybe Don P. was talking about. So, that was, I think, was a bad call, but we should have been better against those guys. Now, let me say this. I think they did a pretty good job in the run game, but that's what we should have been giving our offensive line. We should have given more assignments than putting them in pass protection, retreating all the time. You got 40-year-old Von Miller who looks like he's slimmer than I've ever seen him, that all he wants to do is rush the passer. 9 times out of 10, it's first Hall of Famer, man. He's going to win. He's going to come after you. And all he needs is just 1 or 2 shots to make it happen. That was it. And he did a good job pressuring Juwan. Wanye was getting, pushed around. People up front, Trey Smith, Creed, Joe Tooney, those guys are getting pushed. They was getting double team split between them. So it went across the board. And I'm gonna say this to the O-line, man. Okay. And y'all don't have to listen to me. But I know y'all gonna challenge each other. Okay. It's on you all to challenge one another for where this team goes. Because it's gonna be on y'all shoulders. Okay. Everything starts up there in front with you guys. Everything. So I think you're up to the task. But it's time for y'all to get this thing right. So y'all know what y'all need to do. They understand it. But it's going to start up front. We're going to be just as good as our O-line is going to be. That's how it's going to work, Marcus. Okay, and everybody else out there. If our O-line is failing us, or our D-line is failing us, then you're going to see how hard it's going to be for us to just win games. Because that right there is a pulse. It all starts with them. It all starts with them. And if you're not protecting Pat, or you're not opening up the holes for the running backs, wide receivers can't catch it, tight ends can't catch the football, backs can't get up out the gate, hit the head on the goalpost. All of that matters. So, I know our guys want to beat guys up at the point of attack. We got to do that. We got to make sure they come off the football. Now, with that being said, I'll give our O-line. Man, I gave him a D+. C- D+. That's where I'm at.
Pretty scathing, JD. Last week I thought you were going to come in with a D plus. This week you come in with the D plus.
Yeah, I
Was
thought
that bad?
huh?
It was that bad, huh?
Well, I'm thinking, when you have last week and you see remnants for what they would what you had to really execute on, what you had to improve on. When you come into the very next week, you try to prove yourself, right? You're like, oh, okay, well then, we come in, we're challenging ourselves. Well, it ain't gonna happen to us again. And guess what? The very next week, here it is. So, Ray 028 C minus for me. Okay, and that's why I was kind of Ray C minus D plus. I really didn't want to see D plus, but C minus possibly because they did a good job in the run game. We should have did that. And I'll go back to this. Ray, this was on the coaching. This is on the coaching. And Tehran says D plus because it's hurting other players' ability to shine. Absolutely. Andre Chenault, thank you, sweetie. C minus, sure. I'm being honest, but I don't know if that D plus is harsh or not, but I know for a fact them jokers are better than that. Okay. We've touted them as one of the best offensive lines in the league. And when I seen that offensive line on the other side for the Bills, them jokers look good. They look damn good. So we got to do a much better job than what we did, man. So maybe D plus is a little harsh. Maybe C minus is where we live with it. Yeah, I'll say C minus. I'll say C minus because they did a good job in the run game. So.
And our best drive was that 11 play drive at the end of the game, 70 yards, where we scored. And everyone said it was a very great drive, up tempo. But that was like our best. We looked all game off the line, everyone. And that was, it wasn't a 50-50 split as far as pass run. JD was 7 pass to 4 run plays on that drive. But still, though, you want to see a little bit of a balance there.
That's what wins. That's the tempo. Yeah. That's the tempo. Because it's like, what do you do now? Pass, hand the ball off. He's up the road about 20 yards, right? Pass. And that's what you do. You get, defense is off balance. So Mike Brennan said how bad the pass blocking made it even more confusing why they didn't do more screens or pound on the rock. The way they played us, they were looking for the screens. Defensive lines understand where you disengage. And so for them, they just wanted to get down the line and push. As soon as they feel like an offensive line is disengaged, if I'm going middle to you, Mike, as a defensive lineman, I can feel when you disengage. So all they're gonna do is like, oh, I feel this guy, coming off of me. I don't feel him pressing against me. I'm just gonna follow him. That's what I'm gonna do. So they were ready for that. They were ready for that. We understand that, and they know because they've seen us enough that we live in that 5 to 10 yard area. And if you see how they had all the safeties up and the linebackers up, they were looking for those quick little, screens and all those different things. They were looking for that. We run that at shovel pass better than anybody else with everybody. We did the lineman that made it, caught that.
Caliendo, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, daggone. Okay. All right. It's kind of new. I'm glad he caught that ball though. But we disguised it better than anybody else just with the action and the motion in the backfield. It's hard to defend. Trey Smith was killing players on the run. He was. Trey is a road grader. All of them are up front. Give them what they want. Let them suckers eat. They don't want to eat vegetables and all that. They give them steak and potatoes. That's what they want, the red meat, man. That's what they want to do. And so Trey is a guy that is a forceful dude, soft-spoken, but he's a monster out there on the field. So, and I think we put him on their heels, man. We put him retreating. And he shouldn't have done that. Yeah, Ray, they need to. Trey loves to fight. He sure does.
He was fighting down there without his helmet on.
Yeah. Love Trey.
Brett better open up his pocketbooks this summer. I'm telling you, this offseason he better open up his pocketbook to make sure you keep Trey Smith in town.
Well, some things that Trey needs to get better at though too. One thing I talked about this. Okay, and I'll go ahead and say it. For me, I would want Trey to sit a little bit more stout on the line of scrimmage on pass protection.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out the best clips from Chief Concerns. And if you prefer to listen to the show, subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.